Okay, I'm going to prepare a pumpkin so that we can cook it to get it ready to make some stuff later, but for now we're just gonna cook the pumpkin. So first thing I'm gonna do here is cut open this pumpkin. Now, I'm going to assume that you're a beginner cook that's looking at this and you've never seen the inside of a pumpkin before. This is the inside of a pumpkin. All of this we're going to want to get rid of.
Except the seeds.
You can keep the seeds if you want to. I don't use them for anything. The seeds you can use to regrow new pumpkins if you have a garden, or you can cook them and eat them. I personally don't like to eat pumpkin seeds, but
I'm gonna eat.
There's things that you can do with those, and Ryan can deal with that. Anyway, I'm cleaning out this pumpkin, get out all this stuff, and I'm using this ice cream scoop because it's just easier to scrape it all off.
Could use a spoon, hey, if you didn't have ice
yeah,
cream.
you could use like a metal spoon, but because the handle is thick and the neck is thick and that, it's less likely to bend. So, yeah, you could use like a large metal spoon like this. Those little plastic pumpkin things that they sell that are supposed to help you clean out the pumpkin actually kind of suck. I tried using one of them once and the thing just broke.
Don't buy the commercial pumpkin cleaners.
Yeah, they're just like little plastic shitty things.
It's garbage.
Yeah. So anyway, we just want to get out the more orange colored stuff in there and the seeds. It's okay if there's a little bit of that orange stuff in there, as long as you get out all the seeds, because we're going to be cooking this so that you can make pies or soups or breads or whatever you want to make with it. And the seeds being in there just, it's unnecessary and doesn't add anything to keep the seeds in there. It's not like a pepper where it would add in any kind of flavor. So anyway, once you get to this point, like this, then you take your salt. Just go rinse off my hands real quick because they're kind of sticky. Anyway, so we get to this point and the pumpkin is ready to be salted. Now this is just a salt that I bought. It's a tasting salt. It doesn't matter what kind of salt you use. I just use it as a table salt because it's a higher mineral salt. So it's a little bit healthier for you than what you'd normally get just because of the mineral content. But this will help draw out the liquid in there, which is exactly what you want. So you just salt it on the inside, and then you're going to put it upside down. And you notice I put foil on my baking pan, and that is to protect the baking pan, because this can get really juicy and sticky, and it will ruin your baking pans if you don't protect it with something. So I'm going to put it like this, and then I am going to score it a little bit with my knife around the, just because you don't, like, it will only partially cook if you don't. So just stab it all the way through in a few places, or you could cut out that bottom part, whatever, as long as it's got some place for the heat to go and stuff and for steam to escape. Okay, and so what I've done is I'm heating my oven to 375. It's still warming up. Once it's at 375, then I'm going to cover this, both halves of the pumpkin, with foil. Just lightly cover it, just to kind of keep the heat going back in. Another important thing with foil that I don't hear a lot of people talking about is you have to have the shiny side towards the food. So if you look at the foil, there's this dull side that goes towards your pan, and the shiny side goes towards the food. And it's the same if you're covering something with foil. When it comes out, the dull side goes up and the shiny side goes down against your food. And that's just because it uses it like a mirror, so it's like a mirror effect where the heat just gets pushed onto the food. So that's an important thing to remember. Anyway, so once I put this in the oven, then I'm gonna let it cook for at least an hour at 375, and then I'm gonna start checking on it, and we'll come back to it once we get to that point. Okay, so it's been a little over an hour and a half since we started cooking these, and turn it back on. And take this off. Look at it, and there's a lot of liquid in there because that's coming out from the pumpkin. Now, if you get me a fork out of there. Okay, so this is how you're going to test it, just like you would a potato. Yep, that is cooked. If it wasn't cooked, it wouldn't go through that easily. And the foil really helped us cook it a little faster than normal, because if you don't have the foil in there, it does take quite a bit longer. I've had it without the foil take up to 2 hours for it to actually cook enough for us to do anything with. But now it's like this, it's kind of heavy, so you got to be careful.
You want to hold the camera and have me do it?
All right. If you think, yeah, I don't know. I think it's too heavy for you. I think I just
can do it.
All right. All right. So Ryan can take it out. See if he can do it with his broken hand. It's just there's very little to grab onto with these cookie sheets. Oh, he did it. Okay, so now you look at the skin, and the skin is like puffy around there in some places, and it just comes right off, which is totally what you want to see. You want to see the skin just be able to peel right off like that, because we're gonna, of course, peel the skin because it's useless to us now. But yeah, that's exactly what you want to see. You want to see the skin just coming right off like that, and everything's all nice and soft. But for now, we're going to let it cool a little bit so that we can handle it, because right now it's way too hot to handle. Okay, so now that it's cool for a little bit, we're just going to finish peeling this off. And we're going to take the chunks of it. And you see like how soft it is. We're just going to put it away for now. But this is like a really basic way to get pumpkin ready, or really any kind of squash ready, so that you can use it for soups or breads or anything like that.
We just started late today.
Yeah, so now that's kind of cooled. So what you do is you just peel off, and it's really easy to take off the skin. You just peel off the skin, and then you take the flesh and you put it aside, and you can store this in the fridge. You don't want to leave it overnight though, like this. You don't want to leave it out, because pumpkin gets rotten really, really fast once it's cooked. You can have like mold growth within just a couple of hours. So that's why we're going to put it in the fridge, so that we can make stuff with it tomorrow. But yeah, just it's so soft right now that that's all you need is a spoon just to get it out of the skin.
So you could just invert it like this and just dig it right out.
Yeah, you could. And it's just really easy to take apart at this point. And you want to try and save as much of it as you can, of course, because you can make lots of stuff with this amount of pumpkin. Like, this is actually like a huge pumpkin to be cooking. Normally you would use like a really small pumpkin if you're just making like 1 or 2 pies, They call them pie pumpkins. A lot of grocers will know what you're talking about when you say that you want a pie pumpkin. But this, like, you know, it's just so easy. It just cuts so easy. Like, it can just cut it into manageable chunks with my spoon, which is exactly what you want. You want to see it like that soft because it's going to make it so much easier to work with. You don't need to do anything special with it other than this. And there's a lot of liquid in the pan that you don't need to save, but it does come out of the pumpkin because pumpkins are so juicy. It doesn't seem like it when you first get a pumpkin, but they are like super juicy, just all this liquid. So we're gonna put this in the fridge, but you can put it in the freezer. Like right now is a great time to start either canning or just preparing pumpkin and putting it in the freezer so that you can make stuff with it when it's off season.
How long can you keep cooked pumpkin in the freezer like this?
I found that it's been good for like up to a year after we cook it. So like I have pumpkin that that I did last year that I will actually be using for like Christmas this year. But yeah, it's really good to do this first before you do anything else, and this just gets it ready for you to do whatever you want to do with it. Also, another little tip: if you have a dog, and your dog is older and let's say has problems going to the bathroom, pumpkin really helps your dogs because it has a lot of fiber in it. So if your dog has like problems with going to the bathroom, you can't like poop or something, it happens a lot with older dogs, then having pumpkin on hand all year is really good for your dog because once you cook it like this, you just make it into small portions, put it in the freezer, and once you're ready to feed your dog, just warm it up, and then you can just mash it just like that. You can just mash it up into their dog food, and it's really good for them. A lot of dogs, like especially small dogs, actually enjoy eating pumpkin. We had a little Chihuahua dog for many years, and when she started getting older, we started putting pumpkin in her food because she had problems going to the bathroom. And it really helped her a lot, and it actually got to a point where she didn't want to eat her food without pumpkin in it because she enjoyed it so much. So, and it's not like you need a lot of pumpkin if you're going to feed it to your dog. You only need like maybe 1 or 2 teaspoons of it if it's a small dog, and just a couple of tablespoons for a larger dog. Of course, our dog was just tiny, but yeah, you just mush it up in there, and it's good for about a year if you put it in the freezer. And if you put it in the fridge, you got to use it within a couple of days. You don't want to leave it for like a week or anything. The longest you want to leave it in the refrigerator is maybe 2 or 3 days, and then use it because it will, like I said, it can mold up pretty fast. When another time that I'd done this, I had the pumpkin, and I didn't want to do all, like process it all at once, and so I didn't know that how quickly it molded up, and so I went and I thought, well, I'll just leave it overnight, and that was a really bad idea because when we woke up in the morning, it already had mold on it, and that's why I know you can't leave it overnight. It's just a terrible idea. And it wasn't like, you know, I just left it in the shell overnight like this, and I thought it would be fine, but no, it wasn't. It was really bad by the morning, and it was just a waste of a pumpkin. So, yeah, so we're just gonna put it like this, and once I get it all out of the shell here, I'm just gonna let it sit and cool a little bit longer because it's still steaming. I just got it cool enough that I could at least handle it a little bit. But once it's stopped steaming and it's a little bit cooler, I am going to put it in the fridge overnight. and then tomorrow it'll be ready to go for whatever I'm gonna make with it. That's it.